Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Rose Wrights and I write and narrate Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction. This is the 12th and final part of my series Fashion Forward. If you've missed the previous parts, I will link them below, so be sure to check those out. Thank you so much to the wonderful cat Saturn for their beautiful artwork in my thumbnail. She is an absolutely amazing artist, so be sure to check her out. Her links will also be in the description box. Please enjoy Fashion Forward. Part 12. Chloe exited the runway, tears staining her face with mascara. A tomato-headed man toting a camera approached her hesitantly. "Chloe?" he said carefully, as if trying not to spook her. What do you want? Get out of my face with that camera." She shielded herself with a perfectly manicured hand. He looked from his camera back to her. He then released it, allowing the equipment to dangle from his neck. "I don't want a picture. I just wanted to check on you. Are you alright?" She patted her face, attempting not to mess up her already ruined makeup, which had begun to look cakey. "Do I look alright? Who even are you?" He stared at her in shock. She didn't remember him. He scratched his stubbly face, no longer a shy boy, but a man. "I'm Nathaniel. We were in Miss Boustier's homeroom sophomore year." She stared at him blankly. Nathaniel squinted his eyes in annoyance, lowering his shoulders. "You threw a comic book I was working on to the ground and called it trash? And you also said I was ridiculous, utterly ridiculous." There was a joking characteristic about his voice. Chloe crossed her arms, turning her back to the man with the flaming hair. She scoffed. "I say that to a lot of people, but, well, I'm sorry I did that to you." She turned back to him reluctantly. "I was a brat back then, and I'm not the same person now. If I were you, I'd hate me too." Her eyes wandered across the carpeted floor, staring intently at the square pattern. "Hate you? No, I don't hate you. To be honest, I had a huge crush on you in school." His face now matched his hair as a blush spread, reaching even his ears. "Oh." Chloe's blue eyes, wet with tears, stared at him in amazement. She had been so taken by Adrien that she'd never considered anyone else. "Thanks, Nathaniel." She gave him a soft smile, then pulled on the handle of her dressing room door, nearly closing it behind her. "Wait, Chloe." Nathaniel stuck his hand in the crack between the door and its frame. "Ow!" He yanked his hand back, grabbing his pointer finger. If possible, his face continued to grow redder, possibly out of pain, but more than likely due to embarrassment. "Nathaniel, are you okay?" Chloe flung the door back open, her hands flying to her face, attempting to hide the shock. Stupid boy. Why did he do that? Big metal doors generally hurt when they crush your fingers. He inhaled through his nose, still clutching his finger, shaking it as if that could take the pain away. "Yeah, never better. 'Tis but a flesh wound," he said through gritted teeth. Chloe rolled her eyes at him. He obviously was a Monty Python fan. Dork. Or maybe she was a dork for catching the reference. "You sure? Do you want some ice?" Chloe opened the door for him to come into her dressing room. "Nah, I'm tough. I would like to take you for dinner, though," he said, finally releasing his finger. She smiled sincerely. Boys didn't generally ask her out. She couldn't be too sure why. Chloe realized in high school she wasn't the nicest. In fact, she could be quite cruel, and her reputation had followed her even into her adult life. But Nathaniel seemed perfectly nice. And he still liked her, even after all this time. "I'm only in town for a few more days. Pick me up at 7 tomorrow?" Her voice was coy as her blue eyes batted uncontrollably. It looked like flirting, but the mascara actually started to burn her eyes. "Great. Text me your address and I'll be there." Chloe gave an affirming nod, exchanging numbers with this handsome man. Chloe clutched the digits to her chest, watching him walk away. She entered the dressing room in a daze. Just an hour ago, she had been distraught over Adrien. But why? It's not like they knew each other. Not really. only by texts and emails. But Nathaniel, they had history, albeit a bad one, but he felt warm and familiar. It felt like this could be a positive step in her life. She went to unzip the back of her dress when the door flew open and Marinette clung to Chloe. "Chloe, you looked so beautiful, majestic, amazing." Chloe tentatively patted her friend's back, still shocked from the impact. "Well, it's your design, so if I looked amazing, it's all because of you. So, thanks." Marinette took a step back, taking in Chloe's appearance. "Well, thank you for modeling. I couldn't have made it this far without you." Marinette, still obviously giddy, had to work to abstain from bouncing around. Great. I'm thankful for you, and you're thankful for me. Can we both be done thanking each other now?" Chloe said, clearly exasperated, meaning it only as a joke. Well, there was some truth to it. Marinette giggled, still holding her clipboard, now with every box on her to-do list checked off. She rocked back and forth on her heels awkwardly, looking around the dressing room. Chloe raised an eyebrow, knowing that Marinette had something more to say. "Chloe, I need to tell you something." Marinette stumbled over her words, holding the clipboard close, crumpling the papers under her eagle-like grip. Chloe turned away from Marinette, facing the mirror. She changed out of her dress into her Agreste Apparel sweats. She may be upset with the face of the brand, but she couldn't deny the outstanding quality. Chloe was silent for far too long. As she placed the gown in a dress bag, she finally replied, "It's about Adrien, isn't it? But how did you... Marinette, you're easy to read. Also, I know Adrien has feelings for you." Chloe tried to speak indifferently, but there laid pain behind her even tone. "Oh, I see." Marinette stared at her feet as they squirmed uncomfortably. "Chloe, I know you like him, so I don't want to start anything with him. That's not fair to you. I value our friendship way more." She wrapped Chloe in one more hug. She wasn't typically a huggy type person, but Chloe didn't push Marinette away. Instead, she leaned into the hug, placing her head on Marinette's shoulder. "Marinette, I love you, and I want you to be happy," she said, still embracing her closest friend. "If you like him, you should go for it. It's okay." She pulled away, rubbing her eyes, not caring about her makeup anymore. "Chloe, what's wrong?" She cleared her throat, reaching into her bag to pull out a piece of paper. "I'll be fine. Here, take this." Marinette unfolded the paper only to see Chloe's plane ticket? Why would she give this to Marinette? Chloe will need it. Unless... What does this mean? Marinette stared at the piece of paper, eyes wide and filled with tears of her own. "I'm not going back to Paris with you. I need to find my own path, and I think I might be able to do that in New York." Tears came pouring now. Marinette stared helplessly at the ticket, then back to Chloe. She stood motionless, not knowing what to do, where to go, or what to say. So she said nothing. "I need to get my mind straight. If I could just have a moment. I need to figure out a way to tell Daddykins that I'm staying." She shot Marinette a smile before plopping down in front of a large illuminated mirror. "Yeah, I'll, see you later." Marinette exited the room, the metal door somehow feeling much heavier than when she entered. She walked down the corridor in a daze, mindlessly staring at the ticket. She couldn't help but wonder if it was her fault that Chloe wanted to stay in New York. She thought about her actions and if she could do something to make Chloe come home. The fluorescent lights shining overhead gave her a headache as she continued to move aimlessly. "Marinette!" She heard from the other end of the hall. Her eyes shot up only to find Adrien speeding towards her. "Marinette, I've been looking for you everywhere. Is everything okay?" For the first time, he took stock of Marinette, noticing her appearance, face pink and eyeliner smudged. Good, great," she said unconvincingly. She thrust the ticket at him as if to explain. "This is a plane ticket to Paris?" He looked as confused as she felt. It was Chloe's. She's staying here, and I'm going back to Paris. The tears started again. Marinette turned from him so he wouldn't see her cry. She felt abandoned, but knew deep down Chloe wasn't doing that to her. In life, people go their separate ways to do what's best for them. So why did this hurt so bad? Why did it feel so personal? Actually, I wanted to tell you something, Marinette. Adrien smiled at Marinette and placed an arm around her, attempting to calm her down. Okay. If it's something bad, can it wait? Today has been a roller coaster and I'm just waiting for it to be over. She tried making a joke but lacked the energy. No, nothing bad. I've just thought about it a lot and I'm moving to Paris. Marinette's eyes drifted from the floor to meet his emerald gaze. She nearly didn't process what he said. You're moving to Paris? But why? Well, he started nonchalantly. The love of my life just so happens to live there. I can't imagine letting her go. She dropped the clipboard to the floor. The sound echoed through the empty hall with a deafening clatter. He chuckled as her face morphed into an embarrassed look. You love me? I do. Which I guess is strange since we haven't known each other that long, but when I'm with you, I feel at home. I feel accepted for being just Adrien, and I hope you feel the same way. He took Marinette's cold hands in his. She gave them a firm squeeze, her hands migrating to rest around his neck. Kiss me, she whispered. He smiled crookedly before moving towards her. They shared their first kiss in a blank, empty corridor. People moved through, quickly preparing for photo shoots, runway walks, and interviews. But to Marinette and Adrien, the world stood still, if only for this moment. The kiss lingered before they broke apart, faces mere inches away. Marinette smirked at him, running her fingers through his golden hair. I just so happened to have an extra ticket. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please like this video and subscribe if you aren't already. I will be starting a new series soon, so stay tuned. And as always, stay miraculous.